I mean, can you believe it? We hardly get any women's tests, Jess, and it's 2 days in a row. You're close by. Please, can you do something? Can you sort out this weather? I can't
Maybe I'll
take it
have
anymore.
maybe I'll have to do my anti-rain dance, but I mean, nobody wants to see me dancing.
You see, you say that, but if we took a survey, I'm going to think about that. In the meantime, let's get on with the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Yes, back probably a bit earlier than expected today after play was suspended yet again after a thunderstorm hit the Gold Coast with what seemed to be a fair amount of ferocity and hail and everything else. So I hope you're doing okay there, Jess, just sort of a little bit north of there. Apparently it's all right now. Is that right?
Yeah, it's been fine for more than probably an hour and a half. So obviously the storm that came through today was significantly worse than yesterday's. So the fact that there was so much hail, it must have done some damage to the ground, or the run-ups must have been too wet. But yeah, it's just such a shame that the game was finished or was called so early. That I mean, considering yesterday the decision wasn't made until much later. But yeah, must have obviously done a lot of damage there.
And there you go. We have a live report from Rahul Nutaki, who says, I was at the Metricon until the rain. It was great test cricket, ruined by weather. Yeah, it's a little bit of a shame, but at the end of it, here we are. We're at the halfway point in the test as far as days go. And we're still in the first innings. India, 5 for 276 or 276 for 5, depending on which part of the world you are watching from. I get confused all the time because I go backwards and forwards. Look, it's been an interesting day's cricket, Jess. I guess at first you sort of looked at it. I might just mention before we get into our first topic, the incident at the start of the day, because you have called it saying that they bowled too many front foot no balls in the nets. You said that. And look, we did have Elise Perry looking like she'd taken a wicket with, I think it was the second ball of the day. And no, Beth Mooney maybe took the catch. It would have been a bit of a close call, might have been a soft signal sort of decision, but she overstepped. Smriti Mandhana was on 80. That must have been really super deflating at the start of the day. It really must have been.
Yeah, I mean, it's super frustrating at any time, but when it's a test match, particularly Elise Perry as well, had gone wicketless for the whole series, thinking that she finally made a breakthrough. It's obviously Mandhana not adding any runs to her overnight total. Perfect start, and then obviously overstepped. And I constantly have this debate with fast bowlers all the time that it's like they overstep by about a meter in the net sometimes, and you call it when you're batting and they'll get angry at you. And it's like, well, you bowl them here, you're going to bowl them in the game. And supposedly they don't until they do. And or more often than not, actually a wicket or something happens on that delivery. So, I mean, I've heard all the excuses under the sun with, oh, I need an umpire there, or I need this, but they all measure their run-ups out. So surely that doesn't make a difference. That it's sort of, if you overstep after you measure it, why do you bother measuring it? I mean, it's always easy as a spinner. There's much less that can go wrong. But yeah, I constantly have this debate and it frustrates me a lot.
Well, you mentioned the spinners there, and as a spinner, let's talk about the Australian spinners today, because it was a day when they had to do quite a lot of work, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. And I think the Aussie spin attack is what's kept Australia actually in this game a lot more. That they've dried up the runs. Obviously, Ash Gardner got the breakthrough of Smriti Mandhana today. And Sophie Molyneux was back in the wickets again also. And it was nice to see Georgia Wareham finally get a go. However, with obviously how late she came into the attack, it was much closer to when the new ball was going to be taken. So that was always going to go the way of the seamers. And then obviously with the weather, it sort of has played havoc on, I think, the impact that she could have potentially had. So yeah, we've seen, I think, Ash Gardner's bowled probably about 15 maidens or something, which is absolutely ridiculous. But I think for them, that the biggest thing they've been able to do, particularly Ash, is just bowl ball after ball in the same area and force the Indian batters to try and make I guess as many decisions as possible, and try and force something. And we probably saw that with the wicket of Smriti Mandhana, that she was, other than this morning or other than the first session, she was chanceless for her whole innings. And then, yeah, obviously tried to force one through the covers a little bit more, and found it. She caught the ball a bit far out in front of her body, and I think Talia McGrath took another catch, couldn't keep her out of the game. So, I mean, as a senior spin bowler in this setup, I'm extremely proud of all the girls in the spinning unit and how they've been able to build the pressure and bowl the areas that we talk about, regardless of the format that we play.
Yeah, you talk about Smriti Mandhana. It's hard to not talk about it today, and we did want to acknowledge the fact that she did score that century today. She made it there after that little wobble on 80 that could have seen her go back to the pavilion. I sort of love this, the fact that she took her helmet off and that there was something sort of dishevelled, and it wasn't like a big leaping celebration or anything like that. It was a very calm and sort of measured acknowledgement by Smriti Mandhana. The composure that she had showed throughout that innings was brilliant. They actually had stacked that offside, and she kept finding a way to get it through until she didn't. So I guess there was a bit of patience involved there from Australia, feeling that eventually it was going to work.
Yeah, I think it was one of those things that probably they did get a lot more balls in that area today, to Mandana, which I guess dried up the frictions of it. But then when they did drop short, because she's so good on the short ball, she was able to capitalize. As well, there's so much real estate out there that there's so much open space that it's almost a free hit. And yeah, I mean, the way that she celebrated her 100, you could just tell that she wasn't finished yet. That she had a more of a job to do. That she wanted to stay out there and make as many runs for her country as she could. And I think that she ended up becoming the highest test match score for a female of a touring party in Australia. So I mean, she's done an exceptional job, and yeah, put her team in a very strong position, regardless of the significant amount of time that we've lost out of this game.
Yeah, and we have lost far too much out of this game. It is very annoying. Just if you do have a comment or a question, please do drop it into the live chat. I should have mentioned that at the start. But a comment there. There's lots of comments coming in. One from Rahul Nutaki, who also says the no ball and the drops look like they flattened Australia. No energy in the field, even when there was a wicket. That was something I noticed when Beth Mooney had dropped a catch off Elise Perry's bowling, and then when she took one not too long afterwards, there was no celebration from her. It was like, thank God for that. You know, she just shook her head a few times, still obviously feeling, I think, that drop that had been there a little bit earlier, and just continuing, you know, with the no ball now. 4 drop catches by Australia are quite uncharacteristic, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they would not be too impressed with their efforts in that respect. That I guess we hold pretty high standards of ourselves in that team. And I mean, in the longer formats as well, sort of chances come few and far between. And particularly with somebody of the class as Smriti Mandhana, she's not going to give you too many opportunities to take her wicket. And I mean, the girls are sort of probably acknowledge that they've missed their areas a little bit with the ball, and it makes it hard to build that pressure. And when you finally do get it right and you build that pressure that you've been searching for, and then that opportunity goes missing, that it's going to I guess flatten any sort of feelings that you have, regardless of the team that you are, or the format that you're playing, because you sort of you finally execute your plans, and the last little bit just doesn't quite go to plan. And I mean that's the beauty of Test cricket. That's the beauty of cricket, but particularly Test match cricket, where it is a true test of not only your overall ability, but also your mental and your concentration levels as well. That we're not used to that. We're not used to having to concentrate in the field for days on end. And yeah, I mean, the girls will obviously still be disappointed with their efforts today, but I think they'll be really looking forward to hopefully getting an opportunity to bat sometime tomorrow, because I'm pretty confident that the weather gods are going to be kind for the next few days. It's meant to start to get quite warm and be quite fine.
Oh, well, that's good to hear. Another couple of comments. I'm just going to say there's one from Ashok G. Bishnoi who says, Melinda, ma'am, please say my name. I'm your biggest fan. Ashok G. Bishnoi. There you go. Thank you very much, Ashok. That's very, very kind of you. Arpan says, Yastika Bhatia and her pools. Seems like she's born in Australia.
Absolutely classy. I think there was one of the pull shots she played, and my jaw just dropped. It was so effortless. She was so quick, caught her weight perfectly on her back foot, and her hands were so fast through the ball, and the ball just rocketed away. And yeah, I've said it before and I'll say it again. There is definitely glimpses of Smriti Mandhana in Yastika Bhatia's technique, and even the commentary team was saying it during the game. And I think she's got a really bright future ahead of her in that top order of this Indian team, regardless of the format. I think that she's capable of taking the game on, and equally capable of spending some time at the crease as well.
Yeah, so she actually absolutely has been a joy to watch in this. Okay, let's bring in our next topic, because it's one that had a lot of people talking today. Poonam Raut, she was walking before she was given not out, and by that stage she kept walking. It's a funny one, isn't it? It's one thing that will divide players. I know Beth Mooney on the player mic afterwards was saying, no way would she walk. How do you view something like that?
Well, I might lose a few fans, but I think it's the Australian way. I think I wouldn't walk, regardless of the situation, purely because particularly in the women's game, when we don't have DRS, and you get your fair share of absolute stinkers. So for me, I guess I'm a big believer in the whole karma wheel and swings and roundabouts. What goes around comes around, and I mean, sometimes you just need to ride your luck. And I mean, in the game of cricket, you have more bad days and more low days than you have high days. So I think sometimes you just need to take that little bit of luck that comes your way. And I don't necessarily see it as cheating. I see that the umpires have been put there on the field to do a job, and it's their decision to decide, I guess, whether I'm out or not, regardless whether I've hit the ball.
Yeah, it's a funny one. I mean, we've had huge controversies about so-called spirit of the game and everything else of the IPL. I kind of see it as a positive thing that we have a big ding dong arguments over this. So let's have arguments about whether or not someone should walk or do something in the women's game, because that gets people talking about it. And I kind of think that's a good thing. So I'm just all for the controversy, but then I'm a journalist,
Yeah.
so you know.
I mean, I think it's great that she did it, and like, good on her that that's what she does. But then equally, I don't think people should be scrutinized for if they don't, purely because, like, for me, it's the umpire's job to decide whether I'm out or not. My job is to try and score runs when I'm out there with the bat. So that's my perspective, rightly or wrongly. But yeah, it's well within the rules that it's not my job to make the decision.
That's exactly right. And the preamble of the spirit of cricket is actually about, I think it mentions just accepting the umpire's decision. So, you know, So it's actually in the spirit of cricket to accept the umpire's decision. Let's just remember that. So that was all fun and games for a while. But oh, look, here's one from Aria. Look, we have to do this from Aria because Aria, just so you know, is Muku's boss, our producer's boss. He says, if your teammate did such a thing to walk, would you feel like they're shortchanging your side's chances? That's kind of a good one because if your teammate did it, how do you think Poonam Rount's teammates might have felt about that?
Oh, look, personally, I wouldn't think like they're shortchanging our chances. It's sort of it's their prerogative to walk or not. It comes down to, I think, probably a few overs down the track, her teammates probably would have forgotten about it and would have been focusing on the next balls that are coming. But I think it becomes one of those issues if they walk sometimes, but then don't for others. So I think as long as they're consistent with it, then nobody else, I guess, sort of has the right to question their motives behind it.
Yeah, it's to walk or not to walk will remain a big existential question almost of cricket. And then just bringing in one from Varun Agarwal who says, "Hi Mel, big fan of yours. Hey, where are the Jess fans? Come on, Jess fans, come out and give her the love tonight. Do you think the pink ball played as many tricks in this game as it played in the men's Test match in Adelaide?" I mean, the problem is we haven't. They have. I don't think we've seen them bowl enough at night. Like we did see a bit more of it tonight, but it's been really frustrating because we haven't seen enough of it under lights. I think they've been swinging it quite beautifully at times, Australia's bowlers, but we just haven't seen enough. Have we? Do you think the time we want to see them play under lights, especially with the new pink ball under lights? I think that's the thing as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think for both of these first 2 days, we've lost the entire third session. So that we don't actually know how the ball would have reacted during those last 2 hours of a day's play. And I think equally too, it'd be very interesting to find out the length of grass that was left on this Metricon wicket compared to what was left on the Adelaide Oval wicket. And I think too that we need to take into consideration different parts of the country have different soil, so to create their wickets. So some it might make the wickets fast and bouncy, others it might actually create more deviation. And also then you've got the atmospheric pressure and all those sort of things to take into account. And obviously with the storms around, you would have thought a bit more humidity, but yeah, at the same time, it hasn't been overly hot as well as having the humidity. So yeah, that would probably play a factor as well, I would believe.
Tonight's weather and atmospheric condition report brought to you by Jess Jonassen. That's very impressive.
I mean, just call me. I'm just a weather person, right? So yes, I've got a fan.
You've got that. Look, they're all coming up now.
Thank you, Varun. Yes, Rahul.
they're all there. Don't you worry about that. So look, seeing as we are talking about atmospheric conditions and everything else, again, this is so our last topic for the day. Time running out, as I said. 2 more days left. We're still in the first innings. Only 5 wickets have fallen. Here we are again. I was just reminded of Taunton when we had rain take time out of the game. Yeah, what do the teams do? What do they do from here, Jess? When you still, 5 wickets to fall in the second innings, and you've got 2 days left to try and find a result. Is that even possible? And what do the teams do?
I honestly think a result is still possible. However, I think it's very unlikely that there would be a result in Australia's favour unless something drastic happened. I think it's quite of a high probability that it would either be an India victory or a draw based on the time left in the game and the fact that Australia hasn't even batted yet. So I think a lot of it will be riding on whether India come out or declare overnight. Also, whether Australia can take some few early wickets if India do come out to bat, and then they're in and Australia are batting early in the first session tomorrow. Or if India just decide to bat them out of the game. That sometimes I guess when there's so much time that's been taken out of the game, you want to still make sure that your side's in a position where you can't lose.
Mm.
Obviously, India are behind only by 2 points on the points system at the moment, but a draw gets both teams 2 points, so they'll still stay only 2 points behind. Whereas if they put themselves in a position to potentially lose the match, then they'd have to win all 3 T20s, I think, just to level the series. So it's always a tough one. That I know there was a comment very, very early on by Pooja Jessica,
Well
calling
done.
for reserve days or a day 5 needed. That I think
It's got to be a day 5. I'm done with it. I'm going to have a word. I'm just going to have a word. I don't know who I'm going to have a word with, but this is beyond a joke, isn't it now? Not beyond a joke, but look, let's face it. It's for the sake of a result. We probably would have got a result at Taunton if we'd had a day 5. We might have got a result in North Sydney Oval. If we're going to be serious about actually playing women's test cricket, you guys have already got so much going against you. You don't get to play it at domestic level. It's a new thing tactically, physically, everything else. And then you've got to try and make it all happen within 4 days.
Yeah, and you have to hope that you have to hope for 4 days the weather is fine.
Exactly, and you get dud pitches.
Yeah. I mean, it's always tough. Like, obviously, when you've got storms like that coming through, there's sort of not much really that you can do about it. But it's just a shame that it's sort of when there was so much hype and so much build up to something so historic that it's sort of been marred by the weather. When I think for the last few months we've had hardly any rain, so it's quite typical that in the 1 week that we've got a test match on the Gold Coast, that 2 of those 4 days it's very bad storms coming through, and typically it's a day-night test as well. I think if it was a day test, that the day's play would have been over by the time that these storms came through. So
that's part of cricket.
But I mean, I think a lot of these last few series that not only Australia have been involved in with test matches, but also the India and England test match, that if there was a 5th day, it is a high probability actually, that a result would have happened either way. So I think these last few series have been really strong support for and really strong evidence for introducing a 5th day. And I think if one thing that I would absolutely love as well is that pretty much every bilateral series you do is a multi-format series that includes a test match. That would be the ultimate goal. And I mean, I would absolutely love the opportunity to have a return, I guess, multi-series format in India, where we play a test match in India. That obviously, as a spinner, I'd be licking my lips at that, but not so much with the bat in hand, but definitely with the ball. But I think it just adds a completely another dynamic and allows the women's game to further develop. I know a lot of the focus has been on the white ball cricket and the T20 cricket particularly, but I think from an international point of view and growing the game globally, I think having a few test matches will definitely help develop some of these players coming through, I think, also.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a couple more comments. Varun Agarwal says Poonam the new Pujara, which I'm just mentioning because in my mind I've been calling her Pujaranam all day. That's officially what she's going to be known as in my head. Arpan's just asking also, Jess, how's your leg?
My leg's going okay. I actually had a bowl off half a run today for the first time, and I've pulled up really well. So the aim is to be back for first game of WBBL, all going well. If not the first game, then definitely sometime in that first leg down in Tassie. So I'm really looking forward to it. I miss being out in the field so much, but I'm so glad that I'm able to be back bowling finally. It's been a very, very long 7 to 8 weeks without a ball in hand.
I bet it has. And look, you've made people very excited. Ananya Upendran's there saying, a women's test in India, bring it on. And Sport Geek says, let's make it happen in Ahmedabad. Cricket Australia need to venture out. Yes, there you go. I'm about it. I'd be there for that one.
I played a few games there, obviously not at the massive new stadium that they've built, which is absolutely incredible. But yeah, I had an Indian series there probably, 2013, 2014 maybe, and absolutely loved it there. So, I mean, I'm all for it. I love playing in India.
Well, you've got Jeff's already decided what team you're going to be playing for. Imagine Jess bowling in Chennai. Chennai Super Queen. I love it.
There we go. I love
Jess.
that. I mean, yeah, bring it on. Love to be part of women's IPL.
Yeah, well, hopefully.
Come on, Mel, you're the one who has to make it happen, remember? You got the contacts.
Okay. Women's IPL, 5-day test, pitches. If I can get over rates sorted as well. Look, okay, I'm on it. I'm going to fix cricket. You can fix cricket with me. Guys, that's all we've got time for tonight. But thank you again so much, Jess, for all of your sites, which are as incredibly insightful as ever. Thanks to all of you for all the questions and comments as you've joined in. Really, really appreciate them. Make sure you give us a like and a subscribe, and do come back and join us. No rain tomorrow, so we will be back after a full day-night's play, and we'll see how far further the game is advanced. So until tomorrow night, we'll see you later.